I am starting this up just a little bit early today to do a microphone check because I'm using a different one today and I'm trying to reduce the echo. Also just doing some preliminary setup, chit-chatting as people come into the room. One of the things that I'm definitely having to do is make sure I adjust the volume settings so that the microphone isn't picking up the TV, because that was the problem with the Dragon Age stream earlier. So everything sounded really boomy and movie theater-y. As promised, I came back to you with the final sequel in the Survivor series. Managed to get it on time. I do not know how much I will be streaming specifically today because I injured my back, and right now I feel fine, but as soon as I start to not feel fine, I should really go and rest. Okay, there we go. How do I sound now? Do I sound different? Do I sound a bit clearer, at least? We really will not know until I start this up whether or not the sound is proper and correct. Well, no, now I actually, have a sound blocker, a very badly jury-rigged one, around my microphone and a blanket draped over that to hopefully clear out some of the echo, because it's not just the television that's a problem. It's like I'm in a house with nothing on the walls and I have hardwood floors, so there's a lot of stuff to reverberate off of. Yeah, I'm using a blue snowball microphone, but it has a pop guard and everything, and I'm all excited about that. I hope it turns out good. I think this should help. I'm gonna key some things down just a little bit to help with that. And hopefully I have the TV turned down enough that the microphone can't possibly pick it up. We can go through and play with some of these options and such. Aim mode is fine. All these are usual things. Glad to hear, glad to hear. Like all that is good. Now, this is really interesting. Now, I have the subtitles in colors. It'll play in different colors if somebody different is speaking. Environmental subtitles, I guess, gunshot in the distance and such. And nearby conversations. I don't really need additional interpretive information, but, you know, for accessibility's sake, that might be a nice thing to have on, like, for people who are watching on YouTube later. Text language, we'll keep that in English. And apparently we can't go beyond that, unless we want everything to go. So, English it is. You think? We'll go ahead and go with that. I mean, like, not everybody needs to know when the ominous bongos are happening. Now, the voiceover language, if I'm not mistaken, is the regular one, so that's Laura and all those. Now, this one is the interesting one. For immersion, most characters will speak in their native language when you have it turned on. So when you're speaking to somebody in, say, Peru, and the language that they're going to be speaking is Spanish or ancient, or anything else, that's the language they will use, as opposed to speaking to Laura in English. And I actually kind of like this. So we're gonna go with that. I enjoy that they went to the trouble to do that. I think that's also why some of the codexes you find, she's the one reading them instead of somebody else. We don't really need a frame overlay, I don't think. I think we're spectating okay. Things I can't afford right now. As you'll notice, this is one of the only games in the series that has New Game Plus. And that is something that I really enjoy about it. But we will not be playing with that today. The nice thing about New Game Plus in this is that it's not just you get to play over and you have everything that you ended the game with. There's some things that you can only get as the plot goes on, of course, but another thing is you get entirely new skill trees you get to learn from as well, and each of them specializing in whatever way you prefer to play the game. And we've got about 10 minutes before the clock rolls over, so most of this is what it is. I can answer any questions, or we can continue to chit-chat about Mass Effect and Assassin's Creed and all these other things that we have been talking about in the last few sessions where we've met up. As I mentioned in the short faffing about video, which ended quickly, partly because I discovered that because of one thing I absolutely cannot get to, I will never get 100% completion on Rise of the Tomb Raider. I discussed that I closed out the video not realizing there was a post-credits sequence, and that makes me sad, but you can probably find it on YouTube if you go and look for it, if you haven't seen it before. But basically, you get to see what happens to Anna, and it's nothing good. What's interesting is when you load a save afterwards and you go back into the game, which you will see if you go and look at the video, is that everybody, once you go back and you're just faffing about and looking for collectibles, recognizes that the end of the game has happened. Like, there are still Trinity people there, but they know that Constantine is dead, they know that Anna is dead, they're talking about the way everything went down at the temple, you can speak to the people in the village, you can speak with Sophia and give her closure about her father. It's pretty cool, and I've never seen that in a game where you're allowed to continue playing after the credits, so that was pretty neat to me. And I actually don't know if there's a similar function going on in this particular game or not, because I've never pushed it that far. So when I go for my 100% completion once this story is over, we'll see if it winds up giving us that. I found that despite there being that one treasure that I couldn't get to, and it's in the Baba Yaga level, and there's like a timed platform, and you have to run across the entire map and climb up a bunch of stuff before the time runs out, and it's like, no, I'm not doing that. This is frustrating. And despite all of that, I found it's a lot of fun just to go back through all of the areas now that you have all of the tools that you need, and I highly recommend it for people who haven't done it before. I'm not really sure what I will wind up doing after this one. I've talked about possibly doing Horizon Zero Dawn. We've talked a little bit about Assassin's Creed, the Ezio collection. I've also got Unity. And I've also talked about possibly doing, some spooky games as well. I don't have a lot of spooky games. I have both of the Amnesia games on PS4. I have Until Dawn, which I think would be a lot of fun to play through. What else do I have? I have Alien Isolation, which I have never gotten far in, so it'll be just like a fresh playthrough, because I am a total weenie when it comes to certain types of games. But I feel like, with people along for the ride, I might be brave enough to get much further in it. We'll see someday. And when work is going a little bit better and I can actually look at getting myself more games, another one I'd love to add to my collection is Among the Sleep, which is a horror game where you play a toddler going through basically his nightmares. it's pretty interesting. It really is, but I love the game design, and I really want to support the people who made the game, too. Until Dawn will be a fun playthrough when I think that will probably be my first spooky game, quote fingers, which you cannot see, because, I like the style of it, I like the cinematic nature. It's also been a couple years since the last time I picked it up, so it'll be fresh-ish for me to play it. I promise you, one of these days I will pick up a game and I will play it on here that I haven't played before, and then you guys can see more real reactions from me. But that'll be a while. Another thing I would like to do, and this is not a spooky game, but I have the Telltale Back to the Future game, which, as a fan of the Back to the Future movies, I thought was done really exceptionally well, and it brings back a lot of the main actors and actresses, with a few exceptions, because I'm pretty sure Crispin Glover will be expensive until he's dead. And it was a fun way to sort of wrap up the series and see how it could have continued, so that'll be something to potentially look at. Sometimes I do too, and unfortunately that's how I ended up with a copy of The Order. And it's the best way I can describe it is walk for your life the game. And with as many just straight walking, I can't hit a run button sections in that game. It is really, really disappointing how short it apparently is. But I got bored and quit before I could find out how short it was. So, finger guns. That is how we do. Wow, really? How did you break the game? Oh, gross. I hate it when that happens. I think my least favorite type of glitching and breaking of the game that can happen, and mind you, this happens with any console game or even PC game if you've been marathon playing so your machine is getting tired, where certain things just stop working or disappear. I actually had that problem with Dragon Age Inquisition the other day when the actual, like, attack buttons didn't exist. Like, the regular, like, general attack one was, but none of my special attacks were even available on the heads-up display. It was really, really weird. And it's because it was overheating. And unfortunately, I was grinding, which means I was farming for crafting materials, and when you reload, it takes, like, an extra 20 minutes for, like, minerals and animals to load into the map, so it was really frustrating. Okay, it looks like we're finally running up to 7 o'clock, so we can finally get started. Now, with overall difficulty, I tend to do the Smart and Resourceful, which is your story mode. Now, something that I am going to do, because I have played this game a couple times, is I'm going to make it a little bit more challenging for me by changing the exploration difficulty. Now, as you can see here, on the easiest setting, obvious white paint is on a critical path, and there's a longer saving grab timer, base camps light up. Discreet. No survival instincts during exploration. I don't quite like that as much. I thought I would try that. We're gonna stick with the easy mode, but I do like the idea that you can turn off the white paint. I like my other things lighting up, though, and I like to be able to catch ledges and have a little bit of extra time to catch a ledge. It's neat that you can adjust different things in there, like, with your puzzles, you can get fewer clues or more, depending on what you... Like, overall, they just made some of the best improvements on the game mechanic in this one, and I'm sad that it's the last one in the series. I think they could do a lot more. And here we get an Assassin's Creed style disclaimer about being created by a diverse and talented team. I hope that's the case. I really do. But how this game ends is more something to be discussed when I actually get there. You guys don't know, but my controller is rumbling. How does the audio sound? Is it echoing? Excellent. We have figured it out. I just have to break this microphone in a blanket to make it behave.
There are no parachutes!
I know!
Why are there no parachutes?
Get ready to jump!
No fucking way!
Jonah, we have to!
Are you out of your fucking mind, Laura?
We have no choice!
I'm not jumping out of this plane!
I will make the adjustments as soon as this cutscene is over.
Come on! Come on! Jonah, you there? Jonah, I'm
He
here.
really is.
Just a little stuck. A rock hit my leg.
Don't move, I'll get help.
No, I'm right on Trinity's tail. I don't want to attract attention.
I'm on my way.
I won't be long.
You know what? Same. Really quick, gonna go into options and funk with the audio a little bit. Oh. I think that should be better. Unfortunately, I can't adjust my microphone from in the game. Let's see. Can you hear me a little better? I appreciate that we've, like, she's stuck and she's injured, but it's more a proper occupational hazard type of injury, as opposed to in the first one where it seemed like, especially in the early parts, it was really focused on, oh no, this girl is in trouble, you must save her by pushing your buttons correctly. Well, that would have been helpful. She is duct taping her leg, isn't she? You know what? Acceptable.
Jonah, I'm out. Be careful, the way into the site is full of traps.
Trinity's not done with it yet.
They're protecting something.
6 weeks, and still no solid leads on who's leading the local Trinity cell. But I talked to some people in town, and they're excited. There's a VIP coming to the Day of the Dead. Name's Dominguez. We should look into it.
I also enjoyed this added mechanic, being able to climb on ceilings.
Jonah, I made it.
I'm on my way in. Almost there.
Sorry I didn't wait. Be careful.
I love just the concept around that. The giant ropes and the pulleys. And how does that even work? And who built it? And why? Why was it built this way?
Laura! Wow. Get a load of this place.
Where'd your fro go, Jonah?
Guess all that research paid off. Now we know what Trinity's after.
Yeah, they really didn't want us in here.
I'm glad we followed your father's notes. I saw where the passage collapsed on you back there. You want me to take a look at that wound?
No, I'm fine.
What is all this?
Constellations. This inscription is some sort of riddle. Pink fish.
Pink fish?
The silver-crowned mountain. There's a date here. But something's off. Looks like it was damaged, perhaps intentionally.
Why would Trinity sabotage this? They usually just destroy everything.
No, I think the damage is older. But who would have tampered with it?
Laura! We gotta get out of here. Laura!
No, I have to get this.
Come on! Move! Move!
Hurry!
Come on!
If you hadn't dragged me out, I'd still be in there taking pictures.
We'd still be in there don't know if you'd be doing much.
Jonah.
Hey, you want to freshen up? Regroup at the cafe? Dr. Dominguez is supposed to be there tonight.
Sounds good. I'll try and decipher the riddle, see if the date has anything to do with it.
Right. Pinkfish, Silver Crown Mountains, I'll look into it. By the way, this cafe is supposed to have really good food. I know the chef.
I'm not very hungry.
After all of that, I'm starving.
Go eat Mexican food, Laura. Yeah, as he says it, he's definitely the one who, knows how deep the water is before he jumps in.
There he is.
Anything new on Dr. Dominguez?
Not much. He's leading a few Trinity digs in the area.
My father mentioned him in his journal more than once. He's an expert on pre-colonial ruins.
Everyone says he's a great guy. Big help to the town. So how's your leg?
Jonah, look. The riddle. Its directions. To find the hidden city, go south along the shore until you find the pink fish.
I found something for that. It's pink dolphins, found only in the Amazon.
It goes on. Then chase the heart of the serpent to the silver-crowned mountain. Look at this. It's the constellation Hydra, the serpent. This star is the heart. It's set in the southwest.
So southwest from the Amazon River. Brazil.
Peru.
Peru?
Okay, this date from the ruins, see? If you look closely, it is damaged. This number looks like a Maya 13, but what if it's really an 8? With precession, it...
What?
Precession. The Earth tilts, so over time, these stars appear in a different place on the horizon. Important if you're navigating by the night sky.
Okay.
In the Maya calendar, that's a 2,000-year difference. Back then, the heart of the serpent set directly to the west.
So, that's why it's in Peru, not Brazil. Trinity has been looking in the wrong place.
Exactly. We need to look for the silver-crowned mountain in Peru. There's more. Something about a key. What is Trinity looking for in the hidden city?
Doctor!
This would have been a much better Kingdom of the Crystal Skull movie.
Show me. You heard that too, right?
Let's see where he goes.
Wait, hold on. Trinity's watching this place. Let's try to blend in.
I mean, I still enjoyed it, because I can enjoy things that I yell at, but...
Trinity's people are armed. I heard they brought in reinforcements.
I'll stay out of their way. I want to avoid what happened with the last cell we took down.
They must know we were at the other site. So much for a night off.
Where did Dominguez go?
He can't be far. He must be in the courtyard somewhere.
Yeah.
Let's look around.
Someone must know something.
Hey, Sammy. How's it going? Gracias, Jonah.
Let's keep looking.
¿Puedes creerlo? A este lo atraparon bebiéndose las ofrendas.
Oh dear. I'm sure I was just as mischievous as a child.
No hay que castigarlo. El tequila se encargará de eso. Tomó bastante.
Oh, good lord.
All this food is making my stomach rumble.
Guess you should have eaten.
I was too excited.
As usual.
There's snacks literally everywhere. Just grab something. They're not going to think you're an important explorer when you're eating a churro.
Maybe I could light one for my mother.
Or your father, who was also dead.
I'm not really used to crowds.
You'd rather storm guards or the deathless.
No, this is fine. Jonah, he's at the gate.
Good. Be sure I'm not followed.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I think I can find another way over the wall.
I'll take care of these guys.
Hey, fellas, how you doing?
Good. You can't come through this
It's like,
way.
do they have rules about suicides or anything? I genuinely don't know. But then we also established that what happened to him wasn't a suicide in the last game.
It's not for tourists.
You know, Maria invited me. You know her? She's my cousin. My abuela, she was from here, don't look like it, rest her soul.
Jonah's trying so hard.
I wanted to make like an offering. What's that thing you do with the blankets? Alright, you know what? I can see you guys are busy. I won't waste any more of your time. Y'all keep on trucking. Thanks for your service. Keeping us safe.
But he knows how not to be suspicious while also
Jonah,
being
I'm in.
wrong.
Good. Those guards weren't at the gate earlier. Dominguez must suspect something.
Excuse me.
Same, really.
Make contact with the High Consul.
Yes, sir. Even after the fiasco in Brazil. No one questions your leadership of the organization.
You've come too far to stop now.
Yes, sir. They're ready.
Jonah, Dominguez is not just the leader of the cell. I think he's the leader of Trinity.
We need to be careful. Lara,
Yeah, I heard you. My fault.
I really do love all of the visuals here. They did such a good job at putting this together.
Someone set off a trap at the first sight. It was Croft.
Wait.
What's wrong?
I want confirmation. No more this.
I'll make sure we get visual confirmation.
Jonah, they might have noticed me. I'll try the back alley.
I'll find another way around.
I'll find another way around is his special power in this game.
Doctor, son muchos esos hombres.
Can never be too stiff. You're very gracious.
We should go. Yeah, this is Commander Rourke. Dominguez wants confirmation Croft is here. You have the photo. Female, Caucasian, early 20s. You got that?
Well,
Good. They'll find her.
good. I don't want anyone getting
Is she really still early 20s? I would have thought she was in the first game. By now, she should be in her mid or further. Surely?
Oye, fuera de mi oficina.
Sorry.
Cierra la puerta al salir.
Right.
¡Lo siento!
Don't worry. Go. Play.
The readings of the site are unlike anything we've ever seen.
And I guess that makes sense if, like,
If this is it,
maybe she got into college early or something, but, like, she's supposed to be, like, post-grad, at least master's.
Jonah, they've entered the dig site. It's fenced off and there's a guard at the gate. I'll find another way in.
I found a good spot. I'll watch the perimeter.
Cloth, it's for burning stuff. Also sometimes for not being naked.
There's got to be more to these ruins. A Maya pyramid inside some sort of cave.
Get it over with already. They want to... Wait. I'm a government official. I'm supposed to be here.
Not anymore, Mr. Lead Archaeologist. Your employment has been terminated.
Please, no.
I won't hurt you.
Come with me if you want to live.
You work for Trinity. What did they find?
Well, they've been searching for a temple entrance for many years. Today they found it. I have to go warn my sister. She's on her way here now.
Jonah, Trinity just tried to kill a local archaeologist.
Oh, God.
I have to find what they're looking for.
This is Commander Rourke. All teams, get ready for Operation Blackout.
I
better
assume
check
blackout
those
means
ruins.
kill everyone. Man, one thing I'm gonna miss from the last game that I don't think ever comes up in this one are grenade arrows.
I better take a look at those ruins.
Those were sweet.
I better check those ruins. I know this figure. Ishel, the goddess of the full moon. Oh, and this is Shakshel, the new moon. It's an inscription. Shakshel, the key lies beyond her gaze. The key. This is it. The entrance must be down there. Got to make my way down. Okay, this should work.
I feel that rappelling and swinging is something that's been missing from the series so far. It's very her.
All right.
This is Commander Rourke. I want the site secured ASAP. When Dr. Dominguez arrives, we all go in together. All units, get ready. Dr. Dominguez is on his way down.
Damn, I better hurry.
That is her favorite word in this game.
I've got this.
I'm also not sure if I needed to swing it twice, but I remember in like older games like Tomb Raider
The
Anniversary, I
statue
did.
is looking at that cave.
So I just do it out of habit.
This is it. Jonah, I'm entering a cave. We may lose contact.
Copy that. I'll keep an eye on Trinity out here.
Aha, mushrooms. I've used poison virtually never in this game, but that might change this time around. I mean, like, I've been playing these on Twitch and using my guns a lot more than I ever expected.
This cave looks
so.
like it's usually underwater.
the little jade things.
The carvings on this Maya monolith are far too deteriorated to read.
Yes, the make guys go crazy poison is some of the best, definitely. Make dudes go something. Oh, this one I can read, okay.
This mural depicts some kind of voyage or pilgrimage undertaken by the Maya. Seems they carried an item of great import and traveled south to the source of the pink fish. The Amazon River, just like Jonah said.
I really wish in looking at these things I could see the things she's describing, and maybe she's just better trained in looking at these depictions and understanding what things are supposed to symbolize, but man, I never get it.
Should have seen that coming.
Wouldn't be an Indiana Jones movie without a gross out animal.
What is this place? Maybe there's something underwater.
Oh, there's certainly something. And I'm sure there's a jade thing. There it is. Ha-cha. Doing this, I don't think it's gonna show. Not leveled up far enough for that yet. I don't remember there being any in this particular area. That's why I'm being so cocky, really. I think there's a thing for me to get here. Now that I know. I think what I'm looking for might actually be a locked box, though, so... Aha! Now get out before you die. I'm gonna have to reteach myself these commands all over again because all of the ones that I'm used to are for the previous game. piranhas are bullshit. Much agreed. Oh. Also, I love the trapped air things. I wish that had been a thing in Rise of the Tomb Raider, because wow. You ever hit an underwater part of the game and try to hold your breath through it?
I have to find the temple Dominguez is looking for.
Well, this time I see ya.
Jonah, I made it. I'm in an underground temple.
Good.
Whoa. That's not good.
Lara, Trinity's blasting their way in.
I can tell. It's causing tremors. There's a pyramid. I'm gonna get to the top.
Lara, how's it going?
Good. There are platforms that can help me reach the top. Looking for something to weigh them down.
You're breaking up. Got some activity here. I'm gonna get closer.
Yeah, Trinity does not plan very well for a giant conspiracy organization. No, that.
I'll need to use a rope arrow to destroy that gate.
Oh, I'm glad we just had that right out the gate here. Sure I didn't miss anything. Nothing super shiny. I like that the bells ring. Ascender. I did just now attempt to slide up real fast.
Those worthy shall be sacrificed to the Red Goddess, she of the waning moon and she of the waxing moon, grandmother to all, life taker and birth giver.
Go back and get that thing real quick. That way I don't have to backtrack again. Oh, come on. There you go. Nope. Alrighty, and I'm gonna have to backtrack anyway because I forgot to get a thing. But that's alright. Real quick then. Can't get the lockbox yet, but I can definitely get the document that's over here. And the gold. Maybe the document's down on the other level. Dang, I did miss that, didn't I? Can't even slide. Yeah. Where you at? There you at.
A secondary party, a few days behind the main pilgrimage, reported strange things on the route. The beasts had become more ferocious, and the jungle itself more dangerous. The trees and vines gnarled and twisted, growing thorns as long as a man's finger and sharp as blades.
Huh. Yeah. It's just when she's talking to people in person, and I think the reason why is because they didn't want to do multiple recordings of the readings.
First, I'll have to get the cart on the turntable.
Fair enough, eh? There's one of those.
I can rotate the turntable with that crank.
Oh. What you're here for. Come on. There you go. I appreciate that the general consensus after the second game was, come on, there's no reason why Laura wouldn't have a knife early on. Why did we wait for her to get that? Also agreed. That's the first game they made sure to catch that. It just looks more natural when she's got two. Although, and I know that like true mountain climbers could tell me, oh, the climbing on the ceiling thing when you're mountain climbing thing is totally a thing, but I refuse. This only happens because she's Lara Croft. I keep elbowing the microphone. I'm terrible.
Jonah!
Yeah, I'm here.
Jonah, there's a mural here. It shows a box. Inscription says, the silver box of Ishal. That must be what's in the hidden city. This is a Maya myth. It says the box will summon the god Kukulkan.
The creation god. Is that what Trinity's after?
Wait, there's more.
Well, for me, it partly makes
Looks
sense because
like
she's got the
a
toothy
series
boots,
of
but
cataclysms. A tsunami. A storm. An earthquake. Volcanic eruption.
and then flying monkeys.
Well, in my belief, Kukulkan is the god of creation and destruction.
I brought you into this world and I could take you out of it, he says.
This looks like the Hydra constellation, but the stars seem out of alignment.
What a difficult puzzle.
I found a dagger. There's an inscription. The key to
Much more
Ishal's
realistic if
heart
she'd have had to
unlocks
play a
the
game of
cleansing.
Simon to get through.
We can't let Trinity get hold of this.
Let's think this through. Hey, shit! Lara, Trinity guards are coming your way.
Quick, unrotate it! Or that. You could have closed it back up and defaced the thing.
What have I done? Shit. Jonah, get to higher ground.
Oh no, you took it, didn't you?
Hurry.
They're on their way. Who? Dr. Dominguez and more men. Apparently we found what we're looking for. Great. The siege begins. Yeah, that's what the reinforcements
And I have to
are
say it
for.
here now, before it comes up, because it'll be too loud for me to be heard, but the entire performance between her and Jonah is amazing in these upcoming scenes. Like, they really elevated the drama in this series, just for this one.
Okay, let's make sure everything's...
How's it going with that pump? Answer me! You finished with that pump yet?
Coming up to get these lights ready.
Operation Blackout has been initiated. None of the local workers leave the site alive. Ah, fuck. We've planned for this. Make sure the perimeter's secure. Inspectors are coming. Be ready.
Ah, don't worry, I'll fix it.
This is taking way too long. Dominguez has to wait for us when he gets here. It's not gonna be pretty.
What's happening at the gate?
Hey, taking a look. Something's not right.
Inspectors are coming. Be ready. Copy that.
The stealth stuff in this game is a lot more fun than the previous one.
Operation Blackout is complete. No witnesses.
And agreed about that scene. It's probably one of my favorites in the series.
Have to be quick.
Yeah, quick.
All right,
known our intentions here for ages. Well, they found out tonight. Hope it was worth it.
Yeah, assholes should have minded their own business.
My headshots are on point today.
Base camp, this is Gamma Leader. Where's our backup?
Base camp to outpost. Status? Almost loaded. Copy that.
I appreciate I can get money off of these guys now, by the way.
Are those extra fuel canisters in the ceiling? Yep, got here 5 minutes. Smart to store them back close to the wall. Like I said, they've been dropped off. We'll move them deeper inside later tonight.
Good. Last thing we need is for some gung-ho cop to lob a grenade over the wall, right on top of it.
That would have been cool if I could make it ring.
Where are the reinforcements?
That's something, maybe.
I'll investigate.
Inspectors are coming. Be ready.
This isn't right.
Wait.
Oh, there's a dude.
Drop. Engage. Vegas wants her alive. She's killing our people. Fuck. Copy that. Target sighted. Epsilon team.
Always hated helicopters. Shit, there's more of them. More coming.
Jesus. Come
I
in.
hope that's all of
We
them.
saw the flame spike. You okay?
I look fine. Walk it off, fellas. Oh, I got that guy good. Really? Okay. Not a lot of relics in this area, I'm realizing. Okay, when there's a partially ajar door, that usually means there's a cutscene.
Stop! Don't hurt her. Lara Croft. This isn't the way I hoped would be. You know I've been interested in your work.
Trinity always is.
The key of Shash. I've sacrificed my life for this. Where's the silver box of Isha? Give it to me.
It's in a safe place.
You don't have it.
On me?
It never occurred to me that you would just take it.
Have you met her father?
With this key and the silver box, we can remake the world. without weakness, cruelty. And certainly with none of this. But without the box, the apocalypse, the death of the sun.
You're lying.
Lara, you felt it when you took the key.
Tremors are common.
But tsunami is coming, and this is the first of many catastrophes you're doing!
You would have done the same!
Yeah. By taking the key, you set the apocalypse in motion. Do you realize the tragedy you have unleashed? The cleansing has begun. It falls to me now to stop it before it consumes
Maybe
us all.
stop gripping the dagger by the blade. Just a thought, mister. That's how you get people like Constantine who think they have stigmata. I appreciate them not assuming that we're silly enough to think she could outrun a tsunami. There's the try to not get impaled level. Some of the worst injuries she's ever sustained have been in situations like this. You'd think she'd be a little bit more worried and a little bit more careful. Yep, visually, all of this just looks great. Meanwhile, all I'm thinking is, like, imagine this being the fourth Indiana Jones movie, and Indiana Jones triggers the frigging apocalypse, trying to stop the Soviets. Like you do. What I usually get killed, Yeah.
Jonah! Jonah!
Lara! I was so worried.
I failed.
Thanks, I hate it.
Worse.
What do you mean?
Dominguez. He has the dagger. I lost it. After everything that my father went through, I gave Trinity exactly what they wanted. He'll use the box and the knife to remake the world.
To remake it into what?
I don't know, he thinks he can rid it of sin and weakness. A man like that, we have to stop him. It's all my fault.
We'll figure it out, okay? I promise.
No! We have to get to the hidden city before Trinity. We have to find the silver box.
Okay, but first, we're gonna help these people get to safety, and then we'll go after the box.
No one is safe! Not if he gets the box first! I have to go! I'm the only one!
You're the only one that can what? You don't know that you caused all this, Lara! Not everything is about you! These people need us here. We can do good now! Besides, what do we gotta go on? A riddle? We're gonna need more than pink fish and silver crowns to get to the hidden city.
Yes. And
I'm gonna help these people.
he's also reminding her that
And then
she,
we'll find us a place.
especially in these later parts of the games, tends to disregard other people way too quickly. Like, and admitted, she's somebody who's perfectly willing to kill by game 2. So it is important for her to stop and look around. It's like, listen, there are a lot of people getting hurt right now, and we need to stop and think about that. We need to think about other people. And she only sort of got it in the second game. I mean, like, right up until the very end, her entire idea is that she had to get to the sacred source, and she felt some sort of entitlement to it when it didn't belong to her, and it didn't belong to her father. So Jonah is pushing her in a direction she should have started going in already. Oh crap, back at the beginning of the game. He's certainly grown to be a lot more than what he was in the first game. And he was still probably the most grounded person in the first game.
Probably a band of clouds.
I just can't get those people back there out of my head. They lost everything.
The riddle says, chase the heart of the serpent to the Silver Crown Mountain, where the twins confer. I wonder what the twins are.
This storm looks like bad news.
It's just a little rain. We'll concentrate on the cloudy mountain.
He's too tired to yell at her right now. But he really doesn't want to talk about
If we find it,
this.
how do we know we have the right one?
Gut feeling? It's our only clue. The mural says there'll be more disasters. The best way we can help them is to put a stop to it and Trinity.
Okay. But how do we really know?
Jonah, what I felt when I took the dagger.
You mean the tremors of the tsunami?
More than that. It felt like I woke something up.
What's also interesting
I
is
know that it's not
Jonah has
practical.
always
I
been
know
the
that it's
first
hard
who's
to
been
believe.
willing to
You
believe
need to
there's
trust
something
me.
supernatural going on. And this is the first time he stopped and said, no, this is potentially bullshit and you need to entertain that as a possibility.
We
So
have to trust each other.
he's kind of having to go on a similar journey that she went on in the first game, in some ways.
Hey, I might have something over here.
Really? That's it!
I don't like this storm. Should we come back in the morning?
We're so close.
I guess a little turbulence wouldn't stop Trinity either.
Miguel, is there anywhere to land?
Yeah, I can put you down near Kuan Yaku.
Let's go.
Contact! It might get bumpy.
No, we're driving guy.
Shit!
Right?
What are you doing?
I'm gonna level it!
Then I'm gonna fight the Nico. Well, I appreciate it didn't play through the entire thing again and just gave us quick flashes to remind us of where that was. Good storytelling. Should have been wearing your seatbelt. I mean, technically you kicked the other guy out of his own seat and took his seatbelt, but at least you're good. Oh, she somehow switched seats. That's weird. She was in the driver's seat, right? Ah, deep mud. Okay. Well, she might be covered in mud and also possibly bugs, but this time she has no open wounds, so she's already doing so much better than in the first game.
Miguel!
This is true, but see, on top of all of that, I'm not also thinking infection, so... Now, in fairness to her, she really did try to bring everything with her this time.
I'll keep this for later.
Jonah! Can anyone hear me? Hello? Anyone?
This is true.
Where are they?
Although I appreciate the realism and the idea that even once you're like the furthest you can get in the game, she's like, well, I'm in this area where I can only take these things in with me, so I'm gonna switch stuff out. Like, I liked that as a mechanic.
The Silver Crown Mountain. I'm getting closer. Someone's over there. I have to get to them.
I love all of the greenery and all of the animals in this. Those bright green birds especially, those are my favorites.
Howlers.
Howler monkeys get to be problematic in other parts of the game because you think you hear something else, but you're actually just hearing them. Or you think you're hearing them, and there's jaguars everywhere.
A fire. Someone must be around.
Hello? Jonah? Miguel? Can you hear me? Where are you?
This is the flight log from our plane. Miguel made notes about the long-term weather forecast. Warm, hot, and dry for the next 3 days. Highs in the low 30s, mostly clear skies with nothing but light rain expected. Based on his other entries, if Miguel had thought the chances of a severe storm were better than half, he wouldn't have flown us at all. But there was no storm predicted, let alone something serious.
Other ways in which you have fucked up other people's lives, Clara.
I didn't know the storm would hit so hard. This is all my fault. I should have listened to Jonah, thought it through. I never should have taken that dagger. I hope no one else was hurt. No other village destroyed. I need to stop these cataclysms before it's too late.
Alrighty then. And bunnies are just a thing everywhere in the world, forever, always.
The monogram reads PHF. That has to stand for Percival Harrison Fawcett.
Does it?
Part of the plane landed here. My gear is in that cargo. I'll need to cut it down.
I think it's possible they don't expect you to find that one until after another.
Might be a sharp piece of scrap in that section of the wreck. I'll need a tool to open that. Maybe a piece of scrap from the wreck.
Now you jump in there and you show that plane who's boss. This just seems like a really tiny pond for a moray to be living in. Like, are you lost, dude? Shush, howler monkeys.
Good, but it's dull. I need to find something to sharpen it. I can use this. Still need more, though. Exactly what I was looking for. Just need a bit more.
Guess I can't roll yet.
Got everything I need. Should head back to camp.
Capybaras, what are you doing here? The giantest of guinea pigs. They really are. Everybody loves them. I swear I hear a beeping and I can't tell if it's in the game or if it's somebody outside my apartment right now, and it's driving me nuts. I'm actually going to shift to this one because I like it better. It also just seems like she's more covered in that.
That should be sharp enough.
Can I harvest now? Yes. Good.
Something's still holding the supplies up. Ah, there's a second rope tethering them.
Eventually I'll be able to use you, bugs.
Yes! Now I can get my gear back.
I also think it's cool that they do add bugs and spiders in, because you're in the Amazon. There should be bugs everywhere. And they actually make it like a functional part of the game, something you can use.
Why didn't I pack all my equipment together?
We were just asking this question.
Miss Croft? Anyone? Come in.
Miguel? Where are you? Damn.
Maybe come back toward the wreckage. Okay, that beeping is definitely coming from inside the game. I'm no longer as paranoid. And Miguel's fine. We'll check back with him in a second. I already know I can't get into a tomb right now, but I'm looking for more of those hangy things. If I'm not mistaken, I just leveled up again, too, so... There's one. Nice. Okay. I need my bug harvesting experience. Also, I am aware this makes me evil. But I do have to craft stuff. Let's see if anything... I use as much capybara as I can.
Cusco belongs to Hernando Pizarro, rightful representative of the Spanish crown. Diego de Almagro has been captured. Rodrigo Orgones is dead, and the rest of their heretic forces routed. We made a crossing over the mountains and appeared on the coast outside of Cusco. Orgones marched to meet us at Cachupampa, a poor choice for his cavalry. His falconets threw Gonzalo's infantry charge into disorder, but the swampy ground prevented his seasoned cavaliers from true advantage. Our Imperial arquebusier breached the river and unleashed hellfire on the opposition.
Arquebusier is a hell of a word.
Led their respective cavalries, each merging to a single charging column, all of the men yelling, and met at full gallop. I had never seen such a thing. Somewhere in the chaos of battle, Orgones was shot and unhorsed and killed. They say the coward Almagro retreated from the battlefield atop an ass. Fitting. Excerpt from Alonso Luis's journal.
Thank you for letting her use rope arrows right at the beginning. That just...
Careful. Careful. Wonder where this will lead.
What's that?
"30th of May. This morning we entered uncharted territory, leaving the sun-bleached bones of dead horse camp behind. It seems the tables have turned on Raleigh, almost quite literally. His bandaged leg has slowed his pace and made him the tail of our party. When Father notices, he slows, turning around to give us both an encouraging smile. His overly eager step betrays his calm demeanor as he rushes past us at the sight of every nearing turn, ridge, or embankment. May Ergu be the one to chart the path from this life to the next, so that we may all travel safely.
At least that was the
What do we have here?
To come back in here for that.
That's got to be the way up.
my rope ascender thing and miss it. You'd think that's something she would have brought along. Or that thing that let her breathe underwater. That was cool. I think they've just done an excellent job in general of making some of these things just a lot more worth putting up with. Like money, for instance. If you're going to make it so that you can use money to buy things, and that's the only way you can get things, then you should be able to sell things too. Something the second game hadn't quite figured out yet. And,
This seems to describe a hidden chamber nearby.
I like that virtually everything you collect, from spider poison to mushrooms, etc., you can also sell if you need to, especially if it's something you just flat out never use. I think we may have actually cleaned most of this area. I wonder what that means. Oh, that is someplace I can't go yet, because I don't have my axe. That other one is also a place I can't go yet. Things I'll come back to.
In the early 19th century, this was used to measure the angle between an astronomical object and the horizon for the purposes of celestial navigation.
Where's the rumble? Come on. There we go.
There's an inscription here. To my son, Jack, may you never lose sight of your horizons.
Ah, really? At least they don't clothesline you like the deer in the first game. I may not be able to get to that one until I get the climbing axe. Yep. That's fine. I think I can finish picking flowers and then it'll be time to move on because there's nothing left for me here. The rest of those might be further along in the area. So I guess I'm gonna take that off the map real quick. I'm gonna try our luck following after McGill. There's one of them. Have I not gotten that one already? I wonder why it didn't let me pick those. I'm gonna try one more time. See, because I picked one out of this tree and then it was gone, so... There. I was right. Miguel's fine. What do we got? Visual assistance. Oh, inventory. I think it just wants to remind me that I found boots. Alright, Operation Rescue McGill is go. Also known as Operation Do Your Best. Also known as Operation Don't Spend It All in One Place.
Miguel?
Don't even know how you got over here without a rope.
I don't like this.
Miguel? Where are you?
Oh no.
And those were good
Miguel?
boots too.
Miguel?
I'm gonna go the way that's not covered in blood. It seems safer.
Every part of the world seems to have its own mythical, forest-dwelling bipedal creature. Around here, it's known as the Sisamite, the guardian of the forest. Described as large and ape-like, it's rumored to kill male humans on sight, but takes the females to its cave for mating purposes.
Miguel?
Well, I'm sure this went well. You already had half of him, so you're not hungry, right? And that's when the attack came not from the front, but from the side. Two other raptors, we didn't know were there. Well, now they're just messing with you.
Holy shit. Got to be careful here.
Can't look like I'm too fun to chase. Or too fun not to chase, I suppose.
Damn it! That's it. It's working.
Oh, crap. Taking my friend. Well, it could have been worse. I could have taken your weapons. I don't know, it looked like it already ate. Now, it picking up its friend and dragging it off, I have no idea what that was about. Maybe it just didn't want you to skin it. I remain just in general not at all pleased at how easy it is for enemies, especially animals, to get behind you in this game versus the others. But overall, it's not bad so far.
That's part of the wreckage.
Jonah!
Sure I'm not missing nothing.
6th of June. Father's outward enthusiasm is at an all-time high, though I have doubts. In the middle of the night, I have caught the whites of his eyes reflecting moonlight, his stare vacantly locked to the stars. Were it not for all the stories he has shared of the Amazon in the past, I would mistake his gaze as regretful, even mournful. Perhaps it is simply these insects making their way through our head nets causing him such consternation.
Now, I understand the important function of a head net, but I also don't ever want to think about it. Hello, Blue Frog.
First of August. Tonight, sleep escapes us. The jungle is angry and the moon is uncooperative. The human imagination wanders endlessly in the dark this deep. I can hear the jungle's breath ruffling behind my ears, its low growl shaking the very ground we lay on, its manic energy rustling through the trees above. Rest has become the lead on our search, finding us at the most inopportune time. I have caught Father dozing off mid-step, and his hand barely clutching his walking stick. We have run out of food and are sustained almost entirely by gathered berries and rainwater. The both of us are far too unyielding to give up. I fear the very stubbornness that led us to this point may also be that which leads us to our early graves.
Oh, sounds about like that. Yeah. You're probably right. And those are all things that I really can't get to until after I have a climbing axe, so... Bug.
The plane! Jonah, are you there?
And it's guys with guns.
I thought I got you killed.
Well, if anybody's gonna do it, it's probably gonna be you.
Hey, do you know what happened to Miguel?
He didn't make it. What's wrong with your arm?
Some sort of parasite. I was looking for some wormwood, but it doesn't grow around here.
Let me see.
Oh, hey, what are you doing?
If we leave it in there alone and get worse. Sit.
Sure you know what you're doing?
I had something similar happen to me when I was a child in Egypt. I won't lie, it's gonna hurt.
Same. Especially since I put her in an outfit that's not her default outfit.
The storm? The one from the mural?
I don't know.
I want to thank the game makers for not focusing on what she's doing right now.
We've been pushing so hard forward. Flying into that storm.
I didn't think it was gonna be that bad.
Well, I should have insisted we turn back. I mean, I get it. You lock onto a problem and everything else just disappears.
Which is why he follows you everywhere.
Jonah.
Hey. I'm with you. It's my choice. Most of the time. But if we die,
Who stops the cataclysms? Who keeps Trinity from doing what they want?
Sometimes I feel like I have to keep going, and if I don't, then I'll just let everyone down. But maybe for the sake of a few hours, we could have turned back.
Maybe we should give him a name.
Okay.
Eli? No, my cousin. He's always trying to get under my skin.
Goodbye, Eli.
Yeet. That wasn't really yeeting, she dropped, but there should have been yeeting. Now I'm gonna duct tape your arm like I did my leg.
We should go. If we can find Kawakyaku, we can rest for the night.
Sounds good.
Okay, we say that, but the first thing I want to do is backtrack and get those two tombs I couldn't get into.
It's such a relief to have Jonah.
No. I'm sorry I interrupted her journal entry, but come on, Elizabeth. I never noticed that before. And there's a thing. Cool. Okay, we'll get that when I get over there, but neat. I actually don't think I can backtrack to the first area yet, but I can get the tomb / crypt that's over here. Okay, this is... Go here. Oh crap, that was the worst. How dare you? That was the opposite of what you were supposed to do. Is there a glowy thing there? No.
Within lies Raleigh Rimmel, friend, 1925. There's a little more. Beware, traps ahead.
You didn't even bury him?
No one's been through here in years. May Remax be the first voice we hear in the afterlife, and may her stories comfort us.
Mushroom.
This skull is deformed, flatter and longer than what we consider normal. Some people believe this is evidence the Inca were contacted by extraterrestrials, but it's more likely the result of head binding, a human practice of deformation so ancient it predates written history. It also has evidence of trepanation, a medical procedure in which a hole is carved in the skull.
Okay.
I think this is the way out.
I'm glad there's a decent little delay before those things crumble, because I always forget.
I should be able to reach the sarcophagus now. Shit, I'll have to keep climbing.
Let's do this real quick.
The heathen emperor begged for his life to be spared. He offered the Spanish crown a room of 3x6 varas to be filled once over with gold and twice with silver. The crown, with great and undue benevolence, accepted this offer. Within 2 months, the ransom had been paid. The idolater, however, could not be trusted. When the cursed plans of his general surprise attack were exposed, Atahualpa fell to his knees, begging for mercy. His fate would be decided by fair trial, as the right of any man in the Spanish Empire. He was found guilty and sentenced to die, but before the execution he accepted the Lord and will be welcomed in the heavens above. Excerpt from an objective account of Pizarro in Peru by Ochoa Aceves.
You sound like a fun guy. Missed having a sprint button so much after replaying the first one. No more jogging for my life. What you doing, hon? There we go. Oh, there's what I was looking for. I think I can fast travel yet, but I think we're actually going to, we're going to pass through that area anyway, so.
Got my answer. Do you really believe in all that stuff you said about the cataclysms, the apocalypse?
I believe that if it is true, it's important enough to die for, or for Trinity to kill for.
So this is really about revenge?
No. When I took the key, I also felt a power pulling me towards something. It's real.
Is it in your head now?
No. It left me when Dominguez took the key.
It's that strong, how can you be sure?
Let's just find Kwakyaku, okay?
Okay. You know, if it was about revenge, I'd understand.
Would you, though? Wouldn't you rather be somewhere warm and dry with a beer, maybe a friendly stranger to flirt with?
Yeah, I would. Like, you can imagine. I'd still understand. We can get through here. Give me a hand. See that?
It must be Kwakyaku. We have to get down there.
You sure this is a path?
Come on, stay close to me.
This is definitely not a path. Oh. Oh, God.
Almost there.
Almost there. Heard that before. Oh, gotcha. You right?
I'm okay. Just a couple more steps.
Okay.
You're all right.
I'm okay. I'm okay. What do you think built all this?
It could have been the Inca. They knew a lot about hydraulics. This describes something nearby.
Maybe we can
Two
lift it
serpents
sideways.
guard... Maybe. Cinnabar was used in the ancient past for producing a bright orange pigmentation on ceramics, murals, tattoos, and in religious ceremonies.
I like how they use
This should come
monoliths
in
in
handy.
this, where you get actual riddles to solve.
Hope that this structure is here because we're on our way to that village.
Me too. This depicts the Incan god Kon. He was the son of Inti, the sun god, and Pachamama, the moon goddess. Kon was in charge of the wind and the rain, although in some legends he was only in charge of the weather that came from the south, while his brother Pachacamac was in charge of weather that came from the north.
I bet this water is drinkable.
You want to try it? There might be a release valve on top of the water tower.
As soon as I look at this cool thing.
The canopa serves as a receptacle for offerings of cocoa and animal tallow. The stuffed canopa is thrown into the farmer's field at the start of the harvest season as a gift for Pachamama, the mother god. It is said, if the present is accepted, the farmer will yield large crops in a successful breeding season. There might be a release valve on top of the water tower.
You know, if I had known how much time I'd spend in the wilderness, I'd have paid more. That did something. I think the water powers the bridge somehow.
It's too heavy. Give me a hand.
The water's filling the bucket.
Good. Let's see what those counterweights do. Ugh, the bucket's leaking.
Close enough.
Okay, Jonah, you can let go. We'll have to push the wheel up again.
Let's get across.
I feel like there's supposed to be something additional here, but... That's a monkey.
Guess we go through here.
After you. What's that?
I think it's some sort of sealer or... Help me with this.
Sure. What is it?
It's a recipe. Seems to be a mixture of herbs. It could help if we run into any more jaguars.
Let's hope we don't.
Ah, jaguars.
Way out is over here.
We're getting closer to the village.
I can't wait to get back to civilization.
Oh wow, I hate it.
These are different from the ruins in Mexico. Do your dad's notebook say anything about Peru?
No. I mean, there is supposed to be a secret city of gold in Peru. Paititi. Every treasure hunter on Earth is looking for it. But Dad's notes stop in Mexico. Like he lost interest or... I don't know. The next volume picks up in Syria. two gods are the rulers of the Maya underworld, Shabalba, literally the place of fright. Vukub Kakwish, whose name means seven macaw, was a monstrous bird who is said to carry the false sun in his beak. His subordinate was Hunkame, which means one death. They are both defeated and killed by the hero twins after challenging them to various sports and games in which both sides cheated. Vukub Kakwish lost his game of darts when the hero twins used blowpipes.
Huh.
To the silver-crowned mountain where the twins confer.
How far do you think it is to walk?
Assuming we're going the right way, hard to say, but the irrigation system is a good sign.
Right. People were here at some point. Let's just hope they still are.
Yeah, definitely. That's not what I wanted. I think I'm gonna go ahead and wait to level up once more so I can get a 2-point thing. And now, for a tomb. Aftercloth.
I found something. There might be a way in.
If it's not civilization, I'll wait here by the fire.
I have to wonder, was there a passageway there before, or were people just always meant to crawl through like this? Looking at it, yeah, it looks like there used to be a passage.
I'll have to climb to make it across.
Okay, it's way over there. Fine.
This gear is early 20th century. That starched shirt Fawcett may be getting all the attention, but I know his time is almost up. The world will remember the Timothy Walker as the man who finally found the lost city of El Dorado. We've set up camp in a canyon. It was a grueling journey to get this far. We'll rest here a few days, get our bearings. Some of the men need patching up, and I wouldn't mind one good night's sleep. The men say something came through the camp last night. The jungle is getting to them. I keep telling them that we're close and we need to keep it together. One of the scouts has found a temple of some kind up ahead. We'll start construction of bridges and ladders this morning and head out from camp this afternoon.
that I'm curious about. Is she just hearing things, or is she already being stalked? Oh, right. We're waiting. I think it's kind of cool if they dropped hints this early in the game, because you definitely didn't have that at the Undying ones. Or the Storm Guard in the previous game. Not that soon.
Someone there.
What an incredible sight.
Also pleased she didn't have to wait for that to be available.
Damn this place. Damn this forsaken jungle. It holds a jewel just out of reach and then sweeps your legs out from under you. We've almost made it across that bottomless pit. Some kind of altar beckons from the other side, under a giant stone face that seems to mock our efforts. Something attacked the camp. Some men claimed it was panthers. Others said something more sinister. Half the crew insist on abandoning the expedition. I had to dress one man down, made an example of him. All I need is one more day. One more lousy day.
It says.
I could turn that platform and create a tether.
Well, apparently one more day involved getting riddled with arrows, so there's that. Okay, what direction do you want to go in? Please pick one. There we go. And the pit really is bottomless. It's super cool.
They must have abandoned this place in the middle of building it.
I don't think they abandoned anything, honey. Look at all the bodies around here. Sometimes she's really not the most observant, or she's just trying to be optimistic, we'll say. That's fine, that's not a body, it's a scarecrow. Ha!
Made it.
Oh, I like its little claw hands.
There must be a climbing path somewhere to reach the altar.
Well, some of the guys made it over.
There must be a climbing path somewhere to reach the altar. Here, under the watchful eye of one of the Lords of Death, lies the gate to Shabalba, where all must travel when transitioning from this life to the next. There must be a climbing path somewhere to reach the altar.
It's fine.
God damn it!
Do not know if was there before explorers or after. Did he make it? Are these some of the explorers? I do not know.
Now to find my way out.
I can climb even better now. And I got everything in this area too. Awesome awesome. There it is.
Find anything?
Another of those Maya altars, and
And what?
an old camp gone to ruin.
We should keep going.
Right.
So do you not want to tell them about how they were probably taken out by angry natives? It's fine. Double checking that real quick. Okay, I didn't have any.
full up. Can't carry anymore.
I think we can get out that way.
Jonah, help me with this. On 3, 2, 1.
In the face. It's fine, I got it.
You okay?
Help me with this.
Your back looks bad. I'm gonna go make camp.
Half of their interactions is him noticing she's injured and her pretending that she's not injured.
Let me take a look at that. It's not pretty. You know, with everything we've been through recently, I've been thinking about my brother. I always tried to protect him. From my father. From himself. But I lost him.
You did everything you could.
If I had been in the right place, at the right time, he would still be here. If I had eyes in the back of my head.
You can't protect everyone. Thank you.
Did you make the bowls out of broken plane?
I miss him.
I know. My parents. I miss them too. I had a dream about my mother recently.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. It was so vivid.
This is the quietest night jungle ever.
When I was little, my father used to keep things from me. Hide things. About her, especially.
Why would he do that?
After she died, he thought they'd cause me pain. It didn't stop me from looking for them, of course. I still have so many questions.
Did I ever tell you my dad tried to bring my mom back to life?
Your dad created as many mysteries as he solved.
And then he buried her under the house.
Dominguez said that he would use the silver box of Ishel to remake the world. If you had that power, what would you do?
Taco truck on every corner.
Probably.
Me, personally.
You wouldn't go back to when your brother was alive and be with him again.
And lose everything else? No way. I like this world. It's not perfect. But everything I love now is in it.
He's good people. Me, I'm just answering the way I do because I'm hungry, clearly. I'll make dinner after this.
Claim her treasure. The adventurer Lara Croft must outwit the king, reach the forbidden tomb, and solve the mystery of the White Queen.
Agreed.
The way will be
I
fraught
think he
with
needs his own game, really.
The adventurer should not dally any longer. In a minute, Dad! The high walls of the castle beckon, taunting. Our hero could shoot a fly of a cart at 100 paces. Deadly accurate, for the most part.
Alright, let her thingy thing go. I threw it up and did it go over the fence? I think it did. Damn. I have to go find another one. Get this first.
This looks like a figure from that game Mum and Dad used to play. But why is it out here?
Okay, what you doing? There we go.
This looks like a figure from that game Mum and Dad used to play. But why is it out here, in the playground? There's an A scratched in the bottom, for Amelia. I miss you, Mum.
This is a hell of a playground for a kid.
Looks like there's something up there, in the crow's nest. The treasure is revealed. I think this is from when we watched the El Memsha. I don't remember much, except for how spicy the bazaar smelled. Mum looks so happy. So does Dad. It's not fair. Why did she have to die? Lara climbs out over a lake of bubbling lava.
We have fun.
The excavation will soon reveal the secrets of this site. The castle gates are well guarded. There's a reason our hero doesn't use the front door. Now for the real treasure in the Forbidden Tomb. Our hero must be quiet to avoid alerting the king.
I have no idea how this child made it to adulthood.
What does Lara have to do with any of this? She's in her room doing her homework.
She hasn't much time. The King's Guard will never expect Croft to climb the castle.
You'd think.
The castle tower is taller than she thought.
Yeah. My mom would have
Our
risen
hero
from the
continues
grave to kill me.
climbing, looking for another way in. Our hero spies another entrance. Shoo! Go on! Young Lara confronts the extraordinary height and danger and pushes it from her mind. Almost there.
Yes, absolutely. Super dead. Although, realistically, I could imagine a kid getting up this high and then at some point getting scared and then just staying in one spot and screaming until an adult comes and gets them.
These parapets are damaged. She'll have to squeeze through.
As a child who knew many other children who attempted to climb trees without
close.
knowing how to get
She
back
can
down.
almost touch it, but an invisible force field stands in her way. There must be another entrance. Our fearless adventurer has reached the summit.
I feel like it would be safer to be down along the side there where you could hold on to the top part.
At last, she spots a way in below. She will have to be careful. Why do I do these stupid things?
Yeah, just hold on to the top. That's...
Croft chuckles at her audacity. She's close now.
Gonna have a moment of Flora, what happened to the exterior? No idea, Dad.
At last, she enters the
I've been doing my maths homework.
Wow.
You'd think. That phone call is really important, okay?
By night, the great bat stole the queen at 30 north and 90 east. From her pen, she wrote her heart. With light, unlock her love's release. I wonder if the White Queen is lonely. This is an old game. 2 shields and a white crown. Could that be the White Queen?
Nope. It's 30 east, isn't it? North. No, go back, go back. That's the correct one.
I'll need to find 30 north and 90 east.
Okay, I did it backwards.
With light, unlock her love's release. It worked. Need to find the White Queen. I just wanted to thank you for your discretion, as well as the work you have done. The vault has been constructed exactly to my specifications. The final payment will be sent at the end of the week. The delay was due to an accounting error, which has now been rectified. A baby Tyrannosaurus Rex. I wonder if it lost its mother too.
I love that the thing with her in this particular series is that she has a special bond with the T-Rex.
Yatiri, a South American healer.
The T-Rex is her friend, and they go on adventures together, and she will hear nothing to the contrary.
I haven't seen some of these artifacts before.
This is evidenced by the T-Rex stuffed animal that is in her father's study. And then also this.
The great bat's wings unfurl. The knight's shield reflects the light beam.
Oh, so they just lock in place, okay. That's fine.
White Queen. Trapped. I have to help her. Now I can free her. With light, unlock her love's release. Her heart pounding, our hero crosses the threshold into the unknown. These are Mum's things.
The path was dark and is guarded by bats, said the Red Knight. The White Queen.
I think so, because her mom's studio was definitely not in an adjacent observatory slash greenhouse slash library. It was on the opposite end of the house from the library. But I don't know, maybe
Tell me about this.
these are separate things that
You
got
and me
locked
riding
away.
a T-Rex in Egypt.
Where's Daddy?
At work.
That's okay, because her best friend the T-Rex is there. It's fine, Mom.
Amelia, this is very, very important. I cannot abandon my responsibilities just on the verge.
You are always on the verge. Your obsession is destroying this family.
Obsession? I'm upset.
You are missing your daughter's childhood because you're always in some tomb on the other side of the world. Why can't you be happy with what you have?
Goodness sake, you don't have to deal with it!
Dad?
Please, for goodness sake, you've got to understand. This is probably the most important one I've arrived at. Well, okay, what do? I have to...
Dad? Dad! Dad! Come on. Please, Dad. Wake up. Dad. Don't leave me.
I think they made it look like he shot himself in the head.
Morning.
And he just flopped over his desk dramatically, I guess.
So, Silver Crown Mountain?
Yeah.
Oh, do I have to wear it? What I'm actually going to do is just switch back to this. But at just short of 3 hours, I think
Wonder
this
what
is
the
probably a
jungle has
good
in store for
stopping
us today.
place.
Ugh. Whatever it is, we'll handle it.
This is a pretty
Hey,
good
worse than yesterday, right?
jump into the game. We're nearly at Kawakyaku, and when we come back on Monday, we will explore this further. I'll, of course, continue to play Dragon Age Inquisition on my off days until it is finished, and I hope that you guys will join me then. Thank you for coming. This will be uploaded to YouTube shortly. If you are watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and like. For those of you who are watching on PlayStation 4, if you'd like to see more of my stuff, I am ImpureTale on Twitch and also on YouTube. So, y'all have a great night. Thank you for joining me.